Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I want to tell you a story. I've told so many stories. I started out doing this because I had some friends who were struggling with depression and just the difficulty of quarantine and the pandemic. And they said if they could talk to me, they'd feel a little bit better. As a result, it's inspired a lot of hope in a lot of people, and I'm going to continue to do this because we're still in this now dual pandemic of coronavirus and systemic racism. I've shared some stories that I've barely said out loud and some that even my family didn't know, and they were really difficult to tell. This story I rarely tell out loud because people can take too many good stories and find ways to be divisive with them, and I don't care for that at all. I want you to know that there's a bigger point to this story. As with all, the power of story is that it helps us to find the story that we're connected to, the point of that story. It's the best form of teaching because we're all wired for narrative. I was the first in my family to go to college. I'm not the first to deserve it. I'm just the first to get there. I don't mean the first of my siblings. I mean the first of my family. I got to college and I continued all kinds of work. I picked fruit. I did inventories. I braided hair. I did anything I could do to make money to help send it back home to my family. My sister Myrna, who was an artist and a photographer, was diagnosed with diabetes. And back then, people didn't know a lot about it, and they didn't know how debilitating it could be, and it was really debilitating for her. But she'd have some good days, and she'd have some bad days. And she had applied for disability because she really found that she couldn't go to work. But she was denied year after year. So I would send money home to help her. I had a benefactor who helped support my education. He said, anything that your loans and scholarships don't take care of, I will take care of. And he did. And one day I called and I said, I really need some help with my sister right now. And he gave me some advice that has been so good for me. He said, Bert, I'm going to tell you something. I decided long ago that I was going to support the education of individuals. And he said, I've done well in my life, well enough to give some money to others. He said, but I had to decide what I would give to and be very clear about it. Otherwise, you'll always be pulled in so many directions and you'll never have enough and you can't make an impact. It was really great advice. And then he gave me some even better advice. He said, why don't you contact one of your representatives from Delaware and write them a letter and explain the situation and explain that she keeps being denied disability and see what they can do. So I wrote a letter to our junior senator, a man named Joe Biden, and I told him how I was the first in my family to go to college and that I was a straight A student, that I was doing incredibly well, but it was so hard. It was so hard to do all that I was doing and support my family, which I thought and still believe was an important part of getting someplace. Back then, we didn't have cell phones and we didn't have phones in our room. There was a desk phone, a phone at the desk. And I got a call back from our senator. But I wasn't there when he called. And I wasn't there the next day and the next day and the next day. And our Senator Joe Biden called me every day for 2 weeks. It became a joke with the people at the desk, the RAs. Like, your boyfriend called. It's not my boyfriend, he's my senator. And at that point, I think I had even forgotten that I had written him a letter. So finally, I'm there when he calls. And he gets me on the phone and he starts telling me how proud he is of me and proud that I'm breaking cycles of poverty. And he said, "You're doing a great job, but you won't be successful if you think you have to take care of everybody, or if you continue trying to take care of everybody." He said, "I'll make you a deal. You continue to take care of your schoolwork, and I'll see what I can do about taking care of your sister." Well, they went through her records and realized that, in fact, she was due. And like a day or 2 days later, someone hand-delivered a check to her, retroactive of the 2 years that she had been applying. From then on, my sister would send me money for my laundry or a book that I wanted to read, or little things that I needed. I went on to graduate school and I got my PhD at the age of 26. My sister wasn't able to come to any of those graduations. She passed away. But she lived her last years with decency and dignity, because the people we elected, the person we elected, took the time to care. We are all connected. Our stories are connected. The fact that people use stories or things to divide is not what we're meant to do. Back then, he gave me so much hope. Hope in humanity. Hope that things would work. And hope that one day my hard work would pay off. We need each other, people. We need we. I love you.